Plarium, you just don't get it. You don't understand. So I'm going to explain it to you in my public forum here, format, whatever you want to call it, so people can hear what I have to say. They can comment based on what they think, and hopefully, for those of you watching associated with the company, you will understand what people have been saying, trying to say. You haven't heard it, or you're interpreting it the wrong way. So we're talking about terrorists in Marichka, why they're a problem, why they're not a problem, also a point that no one talks about, but you'll understand what I'm saying momentarily. What up, team? It's MurderInc. Today we are talking to Plarium from me, and you guys are just here to watch what I have to say. Give me your feedback, right? Not me exactly, but the people who are going to watch, give them your feedback, right? So, terrorists and Marichka, hot topics for a while. I made a video a long time ago, and I said, we've had busted champions before. Are they going to get nerfed? Do they deserve a nerf right away? I said at the time, they don't need a nerf. Because, for one, no one played with the champions yet. They just read the kits and said, they're busted, nerf them. Now, let's talk about the champion as a duo, right? Alone, they're really good. And there's been an issue, and players have been complaining about how annoying it is to fight them, but the wrong point is being kind of put out. So I'm here to say what I think, okay? Terrorists and Marichka are the best at what they do in a certain area of the game, which is going to be Arena, right? There's no doubt about that. There are other really good champions, Marichka, Rodos, Sifi, Nagdar as a way to counter the two, of course. The list goes on. Warlord, Yumeko, they're all really, really strong. These two stand out above them. But there are other champions in other aspects of the game that are insane compared to anybody else. Who am I talking about? Someone I've talked about many times in this channel. Terrorists and Marichka are nowhere near as good compared to PvP as Seer is compared to everywhere else in the game, right? Wave clearing. Nobody comes close to Seer. Terrorists can kind of come close. But I did the damage test. Seer does almost 1 million more damage, right? What's the difference? Why doesn't Seer need some insane nerf? Because she's hard to gear. You have to gear her properly. You need the right team around her. Why is this different than Terrorists and Marichka? They're letting bad players who know nothing about PvP to put them in bad gear, and gap players who know about PvP, they build their champions properly, and they're just power gapped by the champion's kit. That's the issue with them. The issue isn't that their kits are like insanely strong compared to Arena. It's that it takes no skill, it takes no effort to gear them because of how strong their kits are. Hopefully I'm explaining this properly. Again, going back to Seer, nothing competes with Karma Burn. Nothing, for one, hits this hard, nothing AoE removes buffs on top of that, and there's a chance to put a sleep on them after hitting them, even though if you're hitting for 3 million like I showed you, or like 3.6 million damage per target, by the way, who needs a sleep, right? So, like I said, if you're going to talk about overpowered for a certain aspect of the game, no one will ever come close to Seer, period. Until someone's doing, I don't know, like 100 million damage in Hydra in 10 turns. That's what it would be like to have a Seer equivalent for like Hydra or Clan Boss. Doing 100 million damage in 10 turns for Hydra, and let's say 20 turns for the Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss Demon Lord. No one's even close to that. Seer is that good. If you think I'm over-exaggerating, you just don't know about this champion, or you didn't see my video where I was critting for, like I said, 3.6 million per target. The gear was good. That's the point. You had to farm gear, you had to have the right champions together, and that's what made the one-shot work. The issue with Marichka and Terrace, like I've already said, I don't have them both, but I don't need to have them both to understand what's wrong with them, is you can gear them. we're just not going to talk about the 0.1% of players for a second here, because it's different. You can gear Terrace and Marichka, we see it in Platinum Reset all the time. And the teams just get farmed. If you don't build them properly, you're not going to be the top players in the game. It is what it is. For the majority of the player base, you can gear this guy and Marichka in 5-star gear, and you are going to gap somebody in really good 6-star gear. And they can have good knowledge, you can have 0 knowledge, and you will still win. You will still win. It's because of the synergy strength, it's because of the individual skill strength, and that's an issue. You have to fix that. How do you do that? I don't have an answer for that. That's for you as a company to decide. If people have a suggestion as far as how they can tune it, leave it in the comments. Just shoot your shot, leave how you can balance these two together, but you have to nerf it in a way where it's not just making them not as strong. Make them harder to gear, make them easier to beat with skill and gear. That's all you have to do. You don't have to gut their kits. If you pulled Terrace, if you pulled Marichka, you should have 2 strong champions. Like I said at the start of this video, there's nothing wrong with having 2 champions that are the best at something. It becomes a problem when it takes no gear requirement and no skill to use them where you need to and be the best at, right? It feels good. You have an account, really strong gear, you put them on the best champions in the game and you do well. It does not feel good when you don't have these 2 champions, you have some of the best gear in the game, you gear the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th best champions in the game, you make a team, and you get completely gapped by this duo from a player who has really good gear but knows nothing about PvP at all. It's bad game design and you need to fix it. This is on you, right? This is on you as the company. You made a mistake. I understand there's a background story to both of these champions. No one's saying that they shouldn't be, I mean, I'm not at least saying they shouldn't be the 2 strongest arena champions in the game. I understand what they represent. I understand the lore about the champions, especially in the time we're currently in with the world events now. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Leave them as the best champion in the game. But like I said, you have to do something about the fact that players can know nothing and they can play at the highest level. Now, going back really quickly to the whales, you will never be a veteran player whale who's been playing arena for like 2 years with a poorly geared Terrace Marichka. However, they're still affected. You can ask them, I'm in a clan of the best arena players in the world, no contest, and they understand, even the people who have them, right? The people who have 1 Marichka and 2 Terrace, the ultimate team, even they understand there's a problem. Like, I can even speculate as someone who doesn't really push Platinum anymore because, I don't know, I don't care about it. I recognize the issue that you're seeing names in the top list of players that you've never heard of in your life. Why are you seeing them? Because they have what? Marichka and Terrace. And they're stacking Polymorph. We're not even going to talk about Polymorph. That's a whole separate story. If you don't like Polymorph, just get good. That's kind of what Plarium said, so I don't know. I don't agree with it, but it is what they said. So, this is the quick video that I'm going to make about this. I'm only going to talk about it once. I'm never going to bring it up again. But it has to be said here. You have to make it so when you have a strong champion, they're strong for a reason other than they just work together, right? That's the most incoherent way to add champions to the game. It really is. I don't think we've seen any duo like this besides Rhodos and Sifi. Now, what happened? Rhodos was nerfed 3-4 times, and he still remains one of the top champions in the game. What's the difference? You can counter him with strategy, you can counter him with good gear quality, and you can counter him with synergy. Equal. You cannot be underpowered and counter a strong Rhodos team. You can't. It is what it is. However, the same does not apply to Marichka and Terrace, which is an issue. And another thing, just to quickly, for one last point, continue on with this rant. The fact that you have Rhodos and Sifi, you should have learned from that to never make that mistake again or to act on it very quickly. Now you might think, Murder, nobody cares about the top 1% whales. That's fine. I don't care about the top 1% whales. But this is affecting everybody that has both of these champions, because like I said, the amount of investment needed to make these champions top tier is laughable. And it's terrible, terrible game design. Make it harder for them to be the best. And it will feel good. It won't feel cheesy. And people will just, I don't know. At this point, they'll just shut up about it, right? It's kind of annoying to hear people complain about these two champions for so long. I haven't touched it. I know people have been kind of talking about this for a while, so I figured I'd make my one thing just to say I did it, so they understand from whatever point of view you want to hear it from that it is an issue here. And I hope this isn't the case, but this is what I think is the case. They're so strong that they know people are going to spend for it. They're going to release more 10x events, more 2x events, make a lot of money off of it, and then, since they've already done that, I say that they're going to do in the future, but they've already done that, right? They've done enough events on it to make quite a lot of money with how strong they are. And so now they're probably thinking, how can we nerf a champion after having them up for so many events? Just do it. Just do it. This is a nerf that even people who have the champions, they're going to complain no matter what, right? So you either have a majority player base complaining about the power level of something compared to the majority of players do not have this duo together, right? And this is where it's interesting, because if you can figure out a way how to tune them without nerfing them on an individual level, I think it's fine. Personal take here. Personal take. Because I don't think what I've said is true if you just have Marichka or if you just have Terrace. I think the real pain and the real frustration is coming from having them both together. So do something about the partner bonus. Make it so it can be as strong as it currently is, but you need like insane gear to get there. Don't make it so anyone can get there, and insane gear just makes it unplayable to the point where arena matches are taking like a minute and a half, right? We've seen quite an arena shift in this game already, and players, I don't know, they're kind of 50-50 on it. You used to be able to farm a team in 5 seconds. Then 5 seconds went to 45 seconds for a brief moment of time. Then it went back to like 10 seconds. And from 10 seconds, we started adding reaction gear, where you could gamble and still win in like 13 seconds. Then reaction gear and stone skin gear were added together, and the teams were like a minute and a half. Then bombs came into the mix and teams started dying again in like, I don't know, 10 seconds. Now we're at a point where the fastest teams, could be wrong about this, you're a top player, correct me, but I believe the fastest farming you will do from a Marichka and Terrace team is maybe just under 30 seconds. Could be wrong, like I said, but I'm pretty sure it's just under 30 seconds. And that would mean you are at an extremely high gear level compared to who you're facing, or you just have a perfectly built counter. I think the average is over a minute. I think I can say that pretty confidently, that the average time is over a minute. Now, that might not be a big issue for a lot of people, but if your end game and the long end of that is 2 minutes to 3 minutes, could be trouble. You probably won't enjoy that. I mean, we've already seen, and I've noticed this from kind of reading my clan chat about what they're saying about reset. People are pushing like 4 to 5 hours ahead of time, right? That's not fun. I can tell you for a fact that's not fun. It's fun to get on for 30 minutes, push your heart out, see how well you did, or if you're from a certain clan, boost yourself up and still lose. Anyways, and then that's it. It is not fun to have to push to the top and sit there at high points so people hit you, they hit the reset limit on you, and then you have the advantage from there. It's just not good design, it's not good gameplay, and it's the direct result of overpowered champions, a oversaturation of mediocre players playing way higher than they should be in PvP in this game. And listen, maybe you're waiting and you're going to release some crazy counter to the duo that's accessible by, just make it a fusion. Why not, right? That's like the worst thing you could do, to be honest. Meta changes all the time in this game, don't get me wrong. Every single, I mean, the meta has never stayed for longer than, I don't even know if I can say this confidently and accurately. I want to say the meta hasn't stayed the same for more than 5 months. Even now, like the Nagdar coming into the mix here, that's a meta change. No matter how small you may think it is, the fact that Nagdar works is kind of big. So, I don't know. That's kind of my rant here. Plarium, you got to do something, right? You cannot just kind of wait around. People aren't going to stop talking about this. It's going to become an even bigger problem as people get closer to the end game. If they don't care about PvP, and if anyone watching doesn't care about PvP, this is irrelevant to you. But the fact that they just released Live Arena, and they just released the Great Hall, where is it? Area bonuses. The fact that they just released this, right? You can tell that I don't do this at all. And it's a huge upgrade for players, and it's worth their time. You kind of have to do something. Because now, if you get to, I don't know what it is. Like I said, I don't really play this, but if you get to like, I don't know, if I had to guess, like silver 2 to 3, maybe even 3 to 4, that when you get there, you're just going to see Terrace and Marichka everywhere. And if you don't have them, you're going to lose, keep going down further and further until you don't see them anymore. Then you're going to have to stay there. Then you're going to win, get back up to where your skill level should be. Then you're going to lose to untalented, terrible gear, no knowledge players just because they have this duo here. So they kind of shot themselves in the foot with this whole Live Arena thing because of 2 champions. That's the main point of this video here. They have to do something. They don't do anything. Players aren't going to quit over it, in my opinion, because the players who this affects the most, in my opinion, are so invested into this game that, and hopefully they don't think that. I mean, if you're watching this and you think that that is a terrible outlook on the game, I have no reason to believe that's your thought process, because you rarely make decisions based on that in the past. But do everyone a favor, think of something, take your time. I know we want it now, but take your time and make sure it's right. Don't release something that's half measured and it's not really going to fix it, and kind of just don't do something just to like shut everyone up. We don't want that. We want an actual fix that's logical, that makes sense, and we can move on from there. We can go back to our happy times of farming this game endlessly with RNG, 3%, all the other things that are suboptimal in this game. Let us focus on ranting about those things instead of this, right? This is something that could be fixed quite easily if you just sit down with your design team, balance team, whatever. Just think about it for like a week, 2 weeks, a month, however long it takes you. You've had plenty of time, so you should have a decent idea, especially since this feedback has been given to you for weeks and weeks on end here, right? So that's it for this video. It was supposed to be a quick one, ended up not being a quick one, but some things just had to be said. So that's going to conclude this. If you enjoyed this content, smash the like button, subscribe to the notification bell, and I will see you all in the next upload.